Today I'll be running you through the exact tips and advice that I wish I had when I first started training back in 2014, which grew my hamstrings and glutes very fast. Each point is honestly more important than the next, and if I had known all of these things from day one, my results would have exploded a lot sooner. Look, it's simple. If you're serious about growing your glutes and hamstrings, then I would watch this video right through until the end. This advice is what my own private coaching clients pay me to learn. So in saying that, you can either go back to scrolling your life away on TikTok or sit down with me for what I guarantee will be the best 10 minutes you invest into yourself this week. Jumping right into the first point, it's lifting with intent. Now, what exactly do I mean by this? It's as straightforward as it sounds. I see far too many people going into the gym, spending the majority of the workout either on their phones, chatting to everyone and anyone, and basically treating the gym like a bloody school playground. Now, I don't know about you, but the second I enter that gym, I go in there with the intention of absolutely breaking myself. Obviously in a non-literal way, you want to lift safely of course, but I mean more so in a physical way. You want to train like your workouts are a sparring match. You want to treat your exercises like they're your opponent. And you want to go into every set and every rep with maximum effort. Don't expect to progress if your intention and focus isn't 100% in what you're doing. Don't expect to see results, and don't expect to grow your hamstrings and glutes if you're multitasking. You're either invested in what you're doing or you're not. Simple. That goes for everything in life really, but I'm not your dad. I'm your coach. This was honestly one of the biggest mistakes I made in my first 2 years of training. I used to always go in and was never fully engaged in my workouts. I was literally having conversations with everyone. Now I train first thing in the morning with zero distractions and my phone on airplane mode. The next point is having a mix of compound exercises and isolation exercises in your leg days. If you don't know the difference between compound and isolation, there's no bloody wonder why you haven't been able to grow your hamstrings and glutes. This is the absolute basics of training. If you're not willing to spend 30 seconds researching the basics, then I can already tell you're not serious about seeing results in the gym. I'll explain the difference for you in one sentence. Compound exercises stress multiple joints and or muscle groups at the same time, and isolation exercises stress a single joint and or muscle group while training. What you're seeing now on screen is a perfect example of a compound exercise. It's called the Smith machine stiff-legged deadlift. And this is a lying machine hamstring curl, which is a perfect example of an isolation exercise. Now getting back to my main point, yes, you want to prioritize compound exercises in your leg days, especially if you're a beginner. However, you don't want to forget about adding isolation exercises. Having a mix of both is extremely important for the sake of muscle balance. My glutes, for example, have always been a strong point in my legs, but my hamstrings barely grew for like 5 years into my training journey. This was because I rarely ever added isolations for my hamstrings. I used to only ever do compound exercise after compound exercise. Now, this is not a good thing because as I mentioned earlier, we have multiple joints and muscles working together when we are performing a compound exercise. So in a leg press, for example, which was an exercise I used to always prioritize, if my goal is to grow my hamstrings, yes, they are working in this exercise to lift that weight. However, we tend to forget that your quads and glutes will be doing the majority of the work here. To summarize my point, if you want to grow massive hamstrings and glutes, always throw in isolation exercises for them in your training routines. Some examples can be the lying machine hamstring curl or the machine glute kickbacks. The next point is overtraining and spending way too long in the gym. This one actually ties back into my first point, which was lifting with intent. I honestly have absolutely no clue how people go into the gym and spend 2, 3, and even 4 bloody hours training and lifting weights. If you're one of those people, you're either going to the gym and you treat it like a school playground. You're either multitasking and wasting time with zero effort. Or you're either lifting with 50% intensity and below. Maybe even all of the above. I wouldn't bloody be surprised. In my last 6 years of training, I have never spent more than 1 hour and 30 minutes inside of the gym training my glutes and hamstrings. This includes warming up, cooling down, as well as stretching before and after my workouts. Even if you only train with 80% of your maximum effort, I guarantee your legs will be absolutely thrashed after 45 minutes. With the intensity that I put into my workouts, there is physically no chance I'm able to weightlift for longer than 1 hour and 15 minutes. I exhaust my glutes and hamstrings to the point where even a single rep more will have a negative return on my time. If you're currently overtraining, that will only ever lead to overstressed and overstimulated muscles. Not only will you see more results with less time in the gym, but also recover significantly faster. There should be no more than 5 exercises in your glutes and hamstring workouts. Personally, I like to always limit that to 4 and instead add 1 or 2 extra sets to my compound lifts. If you go to the gym with a plan and complete the workout without any distractions, I'm willing to bet you'll be crawling out after no more than 1 hour and 15 minutes. The next point is about your rest and recovery. It's obvious that going to the gym and working out your hamstrings and glutes is going to grow them. But did you know, the gym isn't the only place where they can grow. Lifting weights only tears and stresses your muscle fibers. It's during your rest and recovery where your muscles are actually growing. Now, I'm not only talking about getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep and eating nutritious foods with high protein. This is just regurgitated information that you should already be doing. And this is stuff that should be obvious to you by now. I want to teach you about the less obvious advice on rest and recovery. For example, making sure that you're having 2 to 3 full rest days away from lifting weights per week. And also, making sure you're not training your legs again for at least 3 days. I know it's tempting, but let me explain. This ties back into my previous points. If you're lifting with intent, there's physically no chance that your hamstrings and glutes will feel ready enough to be able to train them again. And to avoid overstressing them, this is something you must be doing. I really want you to think about your glutes and hamstrings like a piece of steak. You wouldn't cook a cooked steak twice. No one likes well done steak. And if you actually do, there's no wonder you have twig legs. I've personally made all of these mistakes over my years of training, including eating well done steak. And no, I'm not a vegan. But yeah, I used to train 6 times a week for 2 to 3 hours. My sleep schedule was all over the place, and I thought I needed to train my hamstrings and glutes 3 to 4 times per week in order to grow them. It took a lot of research and 2 years to realize that this couldn't be further from the truth. So ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you take on board at least one thing that you learned from today's video and use it in your own training routine. If you liked the style of this video, then comment below and I'll make more coaching videos like this one. Finally, if you need one-on-one coaching, you can find the links to my website down in the description below. While you're there, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up and slap the subscribe button for a yearly supply of gains. For more videos like this one, you can find them right here.